we just have fun? I mean, I'm just telling you. People say I'm sorry, and all I can say is, God, we had a good time. I don't know what you did in the past 7.5 months, but I can tell you, I hung out with my brothers, I hung out with my nieces, my nephews, my cousins, people I didn't know, some I only knew casually, and we jumped out of planes, we glued in the air, we had the best time. And you know, it all came together because a family decided that they would make the commitment of time to create joy for another human being. And I gotta tell you, in this busy professional New York life of mine, that human being had almost been forgotten. Her name was Mom.
And I know that only time will tell us how to carry on without each other. So keep me awake to memorize you. Give me more time to feel this way. We can't stay like this forever, but I can have you next to me today.
And I don't think any family could have pulled together a more fitting, adventurous, loving, and a more real tribute to my grandmother's last few months that we did. I don't think we could all say it was all easy or all fun, but it was an experience that will last with us for a lifetime, inspired by a woman who has influenced me for all of mine. As I went through a heartache more recently, she said, "I think you made a good choice, and I bet it's nice to be at your own pace, again, I'm sure. But I'm guessing you're actually going to miss having somebody to keep up with." She was right, but I couldn't help but wonder if my feelings weren't directed towards the closing of that relationship or more towards her, because at this point, we both knew her journey had an end. I responded that although this was true, I didn't know if I would ever find anybody that could keep up with me. And she laughed and said, "You might be right, but isn't it great being you? I love being me." And I laughed and said, "You're right." Last weekend, I visited her in the hospice, and we looked over a piece of needlepoint she was working on for me. For the first time, I actually saw sadness in her eyes. And she said, "I don't think I'm going to get to finish it." And I said, "It's okay, I will finish it for you." And she said very matter-of-factly, "Don't be silly. Needlepoint is for people like me who need to pass the time." I laughed and said, "You are right, but this would be a little more sentimental, something I would have that you and I did together." And she laughed and said, "You are right, but you and I have done lots together, and the needlepoint can't change that." She was right. She looked at me later and said, "Thank you for spending time with me all these years. I've so enjoyed watching you grow." And I said, "There's no need to thank. It was an honor. It was fun. It was learning. It was growing, and it was friendship." And she smiled and said, "It was just me being me and you being you." And she was right.
Someone asked me, "How often do you call your mom?" "Oh, our family's very independent," I say. "Oh, yes, we call, no news is good news. Call me if you need me. You know I'm there." "But how often do you call your mother?" I said, "Oh, once a month, and when things get busy, it could be once every other month." And he said, "Really?" It was a couple years ago. He goes, "How long do you think that she's going to live?" I said, "Oh, well, she's got a bad heart, Well, probably she's a strong woman. 2, 3 years, 3 years, 3 years." He goes, "Oh, so what do you say? That's about 36 phone calls?" I was convicted. And when I sat down and did the math even further, my phone calls were maybe 10 to 15 minutes long. So 360 minutes was what I had, and I could call a great relationship with my mother. Something had to change. I thank God today that I had the mother that I have. I thank God today for my brothers, and I thank God mostly today for each one of you. Because I gotta tell you something, without you, there really is no us. It's that old thing, if the tree falls in the forest and no one heard it, did it really fall? You know what? This oak tree called Sewell Weeks Weddock Mann, she fell in the forest and a lot of people heard it.